Those of you in attendance, please be informed that UMA, Urban Media Arts, will be recording this evening's meeting. So be aware there will be audio and video recordings of this meeting. And first order of business, clerk is checking for public comments. So do we have anyone signed up to speak? All right.
So we do. We have
All right.
one gentleman signed up.
All right. So we have one person publicly commenting. So please state your name and address and your position with the city. Thank you. Great. 1 second. Let me get the all right. You can speak. Yeah. Great.
Thank you, Councillor Winslow. Council President, Daniel Koff here, 53 Glen Street, Malden, Mass. And I am here on behalf of my position as a CPC coordinator in regards to paper number 294-24. 293-24. Well, first of all, I just want to thank the Appointments Committee for interviewing, I think it was 5 different community members for the open position on CPC. We're really, really excited that the community was so excited to join. And I wanted to just point out that this paper, although it says that the appointment will be from 2 years to the date of the City Council appointment, the date of expiration of that term is March 15th, 2026, which is the date when 4 other general members' terms will be expiring. So I am requesting that there be an amendment on the floor to change that paper so that the term will expire not on March 15th, 2026, but on, June 18th, 2026 instead. And I would invite any community members who are listening to be thinking about that date of March 15th, 2026, because we will have 3 to 4 CPC openings at that time. We have 3 members whose terms will expire and they will reach their end of their term limits. So in 2 years, we're going to have quite a bit of turnover on CPC, and I hope this enthusiasm to join the committee continues. So thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Great. All right. So next order of business is the consent agenda. This evening's consent agenda consists of meeting minutes to be approved, 3 mayoral appointments to be placed on file, 1 communication to be received and placed on file, and 3 ordinances to be referred to a joint public hearing on the planning board with the Rules and Ordinance Committee. Does any councillor have a desire to remove any of these items from the consent order for purposes of further discussion? Let's see. Councillor Sika.
Thank you, Council President. I wish to remove paper 288-24 from the consent agenda to have a little further discussion.
Okay.
I don't know what Councilor O'Malley is, but we probably should have him in here.
All right.
Did I do the wrong one?
No, 288 or
288.
of these.
Are they both?
They seem to.
So the other one is, I'm not, I assume the first one is about, people paving their front lawns, though. That's what I was under the impression. I don't necessarily have a problem with that one. It's the parking space one that I would like to have a little bit more of a discussion with before that gets sent to a joint planning and ordinance.
Okay. Okay.
I'm fine with that.
All right. So we're going to take 287-24 and 288-24 off the consent agenda.
I didn't think that they were technically together.
Yeah. No, I think
They're
are
not, right?
trying
They
to.
seem to be.
There's a little bit of connection, I think, just because I think the motivation of at least behind some of them is just that parking is destroying open space. So there's a little bit of connection, but there's a little bit broader. So, but it'd be good to have Councillor O'Malley explain that for the council. So, any other of these papers that the councillors wish to take off the consent agenda? So, Not having any other papers, consider a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended. Motion by Councillor Simonelli,
Second.
seconded by Councillor Sika. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda as amended?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, so the consent agenda is passed, and then we will we'll have those, Councillor O'Malley take up those papers when he returns. I don't know exactly where he is, but I think he's.
Can we do,
What ta-
I mean, we could start the discussion without him, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know, he was here, so.
His jacket's here, so he didn't go too far.
Okay, all right, so he texted him, but his phone is here, so. All right,
I think he might have more than one, maybe.
all right. So Councillor Linehan want to speak to the first one, and, let's see, all right, all right, here's Councillor O'Malley. All right, so Councillor O'Malley, we just had a request to, take an agenda for it, so do you want to talk about 28724 first, and then?
So really quick, Councilor O'Malley, I didn't need to remove both papers. 287, I was fine with, but they suggested we take them both. I just was hoping to have some further discussion on 288, so if you can explain a little, both of them, that would be great.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, here you go. Councillor O'Malley.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I had printing difficulties. I apologize. So I just handed out some amendments to 28724. This is related to on-site parking in residential areas. The portion that's on the docket tonight is related to off-site parking, so that would be not on-site but off-site. So I'm hoping to amend 287 by adding this other language, which would be related to residential areas. And it primarily, as you can see here, says that be further ordained that general off-site parking be amended as follows by striking subsection I-5, quote, covered with crushed stone, and inserting at the end of the sentence, and encourage on-site water infiltration. That is being inspired by the fact that right now crushed stone and crushed stone dust is considered open space, but it's so heavily compacted that it really doesn't allow infiltration of water. So that would be requiring more landscaped yards. And again, the overall gist and goal of these two papers, what we've heard is that our open space requirements are conflicting with our parking requirements. So like say if someone wants to add a bedroom, often what they're being told is that they need to remove open space in order to accommodate additional parking spots. But when you actually look into it, oftentimes it's not necessary. And so we've had some I tried to print out the photos. I couldn't figure out how to print out the photos in time. But there's been some pretty egregious situations where people are getting rid of whole yards to put in this parking that they oftentimes wouldn't want to do. Of course, they're able to do that if they would like to, but sometimes it's not ideal. We would also be amending the current proposal to be vetted in ordinance and by the planning board, which says that section I-5 or 1.5 would be adding a sentence at the end saying landscaping shall not include overly compacted materials such as but not limited to crushed stone or stone dust. And finally, the 287-24 paper would strike section 112 in its entirety and insert in its place the following, renaming it open space coverage, including front yards, side yards, and rear yards. And it would say a minimum of 50% of the front yard as determined by the main entrance of the property shall be landscaped according to the requirements of section I-5 above. Additionally, a minimum of 50% of the total required open space on site for all residential uses such as but not limited to front, side, and rear yards, shall be landscaped according to the requirements of I-5 above. So that also clarifies that we want 50% of the front yard to be landscaped. The other 50% can be a walkway or a driveway. And then 50% of everything has to be, open space. Right now, the way it's interpreted is it's saying 50% of each yard. So you can have a really weird situation where it might make more sense to just allow the entire backyard to be a parking lot or a driveway, or the entire side yard to be a driveway. But right now, the way our ordinance is written, they have to have 50% of open space in each yard. So you end up having some really weird looking situations where it might just make more sense to allow them to completely pave one yard for parking rather than have parking in each of the yards. I know that's not what your question was, though, so that was the first part. The second part is looking at, again, this would go to a hearing before planning an ordinance, and it really is
Second paper you're talking about?
the second paper, which is 28824. This would look at readjusting the amount of parking spaces required per bedroom, and it would only impact singles, twos, threes, townhouses, and co-housing facilities, and it specifically excludes multifamily homes. So the larger projects would still be required to have the current amount. That's something we could look at. I'm just thinking about, where are you seeing people want to add one bedroom because their family is growing? That's primarily going to be in a 1 to 3 unit house. And I just know that, like, if someone has a child or someone's family is growing, it's to me, it doesn't make sense to say, okay, you need to rip up your yard in order to have an additional room for the child that you just had. So that's kind of what this has been inspired by. Thank you for listening. I apologize for being late. Thank you.
So we have Councilor Simonelli up first. Councilor Simonelli.
Thank you, Mr. President. I don't think it's a bad idea to take a look at this, because early on, when I was elected, I got a call to go to a house and talk to the gentleman there. And he has a two-family house, big house, but he wanted to add a bedroom, like you were saying. And, he didn't have the room in his driveway. I mean, he had backyard, so he could actually make more, but it would have took away green space, would have took away yard space to hot top or put a cement thing down there. And, but there was plenty of parking on the street. So, I mean, with the housing crisis being the way it is, and, people have nowhere to live because of the prices are so high, that I can understand that. But it's a double-edged sword sometimes too, because if we allow that, then we allow more driveways, more cement, more hot top, taken away from the green space. And I know that that's not what that is, right? 50% stays at the front of the house as green space, correct?
If I may, that's the reason why this is coming in tandem of both readjusting the open space, how we interpret the open space, to allow parking where it makes sense. Right now, it's just being chopped up.
Right.
And also looking at reducing the amount required per bedroom.
Right.
So that so much parking isn't necessary in the 1 to 3s.
Okay.
Not
Yeah.
the bigger multifamilies.
Yeah. No, I think that's okay. And I think we should really take a look at it, because like I said, especially in my neighborhood, I have multifamily houses that people own. And, their kids are graduating college, and they can't afford to, they can afford to go to college, but they can't afford to come back here and live because the prices of the rents are so high. So, they want them to, and what do you say to somebody like that? No, you can't. So they do it anyway, and it becomes an illegal one. So I think it's a good idea.
And if I could just correct a statement I just made, aside from co-housing could be more than the 3 units that I just mentioned.
Councilor Linehan.
Thank you, Mr. President. So I want to thank Councilor O'Malley for introducing these. I know it's something that he and I have talked about a lot. We share sort of similar architecture in our neighborhoods and similar constituent issues when it comes to both abutters being very upset when they see an entire yard gets paved. And I know our inspectional services they take this very seriously, and they do go out, they make them return it to some semblance of what it previously looked like. But I think what's happening a lot is, you know, you may have like a whole yard hot topped, we go out, they're penalized, they submit a plot plan, and what they do is instead of putting back in the landscaping, they put the stones down for the part that's non-compliant, so it ends up making the neighborhood upset, and it doesn't have the impervious quality and the look that people are hoping that the ordinance would have required. More broadly than that, though, I think my preference would be to just bring these to ordinance to discuss, because I'm feeling like we're gonna have a lot of different kind of neighborhood needs and opinions on this. My personal preference would be to move it through ordinance before we go to joint planning, just because I think there's a lot in here, and we are probably on the verge of talking a little bit too much about it already, without sending to committee. But I am generally supportive of these, and I wanted to also just sort of share that, like, one of the instances that I run into a lot, it's not so much people having another child and needing a new bedroom, although I'm sure that does happen. It's more people who have aging parents or kids coming back from school who can't get into the rental market, or because of our hybrid work now, people that need a home office. And when we say bedroom, like tying bedrooms to parking spaces is like just a room with a door that shuts. So if you want to finish your attic to a home office space, you still have to add a bedroom. Those are more what we run into now, I think. So I think giving people, at least opening the conversation about giving people more tools to do stuff that offers flexibility, multi-generational living, hybrid work. Those are more the examples that I'm seeing in the community, and I see a lot of, you know, I can think of a few examples off the top of my head of 2 or 3 family homes where maybe there's 1 or even 2 driveways, so there is a lot of off-street parking already, but we're asking to add even more, and there may be 2 cars registered to the house. Like, of course, the potential exists further down, but I think we're tying people's hands behind their back unnecessarily right now. So I'd be happy to see this in committee and continue to flesh it out. I know our city planner has given some feedback by email already that's been very helpful. I would love to see us continue to do that and try to get this to a good consensus.
Thank you, Councilor Leonard. Councilor Sika.
Thank you, Council President. Councilor O'Malley, I don't have an issue with the discussion of all of this. My issue that I have with this is, again, it's over the summer, and just like cannabis, I think that parking in the city is an extremely important topic to tackle, and I would hate for us to be doing it in the middle of the summer months. And again, I am out of the country for 2 weeks for a family wedding, and I would hate to miss this discussion. I'm especially concerned that it involves single families, multifamilies, and things like that, because my council is up here probably sick and tired of listening to me, but I have a house on Claremont Street that has 6 bedrooms right now, and there is 14 registered cars to the address. And that does not include the 4 livery vehicles that we know of that have tried to get a livery license at that location. Because what happens is, the assessor's office, they can't tell us when a lease is, when the car's leased. So those 14 cars, if there's more cars that are leased at that address, we don't know about it, because that excise tax goes to the leasing company. So, yeah, it's pretty interesting. So I am in agreement with Councilor Linehan. I will totally support sending both of these papers to ordinance to maybe have a little bit more further discussion before we go to the planning, the joint planning and the joint ordinance, just because I think it's such a hot topic that, you know, this is definitely going to force more people on the street. And I don't know about you, but there's some nights that if my kids aren't home before 10 o'clock at night, I'm having anxiety because they're not gonna find a parking spot on my street. They're gonna be parking on Easton Ave or Lynn Street. So I just don't, I don't want to rush at this, and I don't want people to think we're trying to sneak something in. So I think maybe we wait till the fall. I don't think there's any particular rush for this. Am I correct? Like, this isn't tied to anything in particular. So I apologize. I meant to call you earlier, but my day kind of got a little away from me. And, you know, I'd also like to possibly discuss, somebody mentioned people not using their driveways. I have a neighbor who has 2 driveways, one on Lynn Street and one on Cleveland Street, and they don't use either one of them. Like, to the point that I would like to use their driveway in case we don't have parking. So I think we need to look at that as well, and maybe put something in an ordinance that if you have a driveway, you need to pull your car in the driveway, at least one.
It is in the ordinance.
No, it may be in the ordinance, but it's not enforceable, because I've called. My neighbor doesn't want to pull in her driveway because she's afraid she's going to hit her fence. So I think we need to have this conversation, so. You know what I mean? Like, so if, especially for winter parking, because there's a ton of people that park on the street because they want to leave their things. So I think the whole parking, I think there's a whole big, huge animal that we need to tackle on it. And I am in full support of sending both of these papers to committee this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Colon Hayes.
Thank you. I'll keep it short because people have spoke a lot on it. But I did want to say, when I first saw this, I recently just got a Ward 3 member calling me that they wanted to put a driveway, or their neighbor was putting in a driveway in maybe the front lawn, and then they were like, no, it wasn't in the front lawn because that's not allowed, in the back lawn. So this is interesting to me because I didn't think we would, we were able to. I will. You know them. And it was a 50% in the backyard, so this was not, yeah, I didn't even know that you could do that by code. So it's definitely something I'd love to take a look at, coming from someone who does not have a driveway. I can see both sides of this issue. And my kids don't drive, so they take public transportation and stuff like that. So, you know, I could see where limiting the amount of parking on both sides. So I can, thank you. We'll just refer that, and I think
Okay.
I'm totally on board with that.
All right, thank you, Councilor Colon Hayes. Councilor O'Malley.
Yeah, I appreciate it, and I hear that just to sort of, the only intention I was hoping to get it on the planning board docket when the Rose Quarry was going up there, so that's why I didn't want you to miss it either. So I figured it would make sense. I guess if possible, I'm okay with sending it to ordinance only. Is it possible to amend it so it reflects the what's here, and we'll refer that? Okay. So I would move to amend paper 28724 to reflect the amendments that have been handed out here. I don't need to read it, right? And thank you. That's my motion.
All right, so motion, any further discussion on the motion? All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so the paper 28724 is amended.
And I would move to refer 287 and 288 to ordinance for further discussion.
Okay, all right, second by, motion to refer to ordinance, second by Councilor Sika. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, so those papers are referred to ordinance.
Thank you,
All right,
councilors.
Thanks, great. Thanks, good. All right, next up, we have committee reports. Councilor, clerk will read the first report.
Paper
Oh, let's see.
289-24,
Okay.
Committee Report. The Standing Committee on Finance, to whom was referred Paper 244, Series of 2024, having considered the same, make the following report. Committee recommends that this paper be reported out favorably to the full council with the following amendment: to add $154,100 under Schedule B, Retirement Appropriation.
On Councilor McDonald's motion to receive the committee report, second by Councilor Condon. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The paper is, the committee report is received. Clerk will read the paper.
I think we report a point of order before.
Oh, let's see, point of order, okay, sorry, okay.
So I just want to make sure everybody is aware that I am currently a board member of UMA, and there is a line, they do have a line item on the budget. I have no financial interest. I'm not an employee, so I'm an unpaid board member. There is no conflict of interest, but I did file the proper paperwork for the appearance of a conflict of interest with the city clerk to ensure that everything was above board, and I just wanted to make that extremely clear to everybody. There is no reason I cannot vote on the budget, but I wanted to be transparent about,
Great, and
That
so that's been filed with the clerk then?
correct.
All right, and that'll be part of the record? All right,
Yes.
all right, so, all right. Any further thing, Councilor O'Malley, for, this is just accepting the report here, or actually, we've accepted the report, so we're just before. Okay, all right, thank you, great. Sure, yeah, 1 second, yeah, great.
So it's your decision to make. I only know that the tradition has been in the past that if someone's on a board of something, usually they do recuse themselves. I know that. Okay. Oh, I know, because I know you usually do. Okay. And And I do know that if, I believe, and I'm just, because I want to look out for you, because as we know, we want to make sure that we're doing the right thing. The only other thing I can remember is Counselor Murphy was on the teen center, and she wasn't paid, and I know that, I believe she used to recuse herself from teen center stuff. So. Yeah, so I just, just so you know, it's your decision, but I just wanted to put it out there.
All right, so, thank you, Counselor Taylor, for informing the public and us of that, but I think we can proceed. Clerk will read the paper.
Paper 244-24, order fiscal year 2025 annual appropriation order.
All right, Counselor McDonald for the committee. Oh, let's see, and, yeah, here, first you gotta get the mic. All right, thank you.
All right, thank you, Council President. So here we are at the close of our annual budget process, one of the most important decisions that the City Council makes. And so this is a proposed $234 million annual budget. We had a great conversation and recap last week with the public hearing. We did have, about 10 folks here and online and who asked some good questions and raised some good questions, and discussed also in particular the role of the school's budget, which is the biggest single part of the city budget. And we talked about the departments that we had spoken with, including the water department, which is another big chunk, but that is all funded through pass-through water fees, so we just don't often see that as much. We talked to the library, the Office of Strategic Planning and Community Development, who has been really successful in getting a lot of grants, so money coming into the city. And so the budget that we have before us is largely a continuing budget. We do see expenses going up. We've negotiated now, I think, almost all of our union contracts. They're almost all current? Looking, yeah. Right, so we're just coming off a whole round of collective bargaining agreements, and so all of those step increases and agreed increases are built in to the budget that you see here. So much of the increase we have is going to increase salaries, or it's going to the increased costs of healthcare. Like every other city that we seem to see, costs are going up faster than revenues, and so that's partially, yes, wages and benefits, but it's inflation overall, it's costs of materials and construction and everything else. So we, this year, have a budget proposed by the mayor that does utilize the remainder of our ARPA funds, which is about $4 million, plus $2.5 million in cash reserves that we have in order to make this budget balanced. And we talked a lot about that. We talked about what the long-term options are for bringing our long-term budget outlook into balance. We had some conversations with council members about fees and ways to look at additional income. But I think this is all very reminiscent, of course, of the same conversation that we had last year when we were also using some cash reserves to balance the budget. That gap has not gotten any smaller. I certainly appreciate the work that the mayor's office and the finance team in preparing this budget have done to try to preserve some of the key investments that we've made in equity and in access over the last few years, some of that facilitated by ARPA, but some of it just built into the budget regularly. And so I think that I do think that it is prudent to not unduly to not force trade-offs that affect our most vulnerable residents when that isn't what we're forced to do. But I think we will be in that position, soon. And last year when we passed the budget, we passed two resolves that accompanied that. One said we have to take a look at the long-term requirements for Chapter 70. And in the last year, we've worked diligently with our state delegation to do that. And we have, hopefully this year, a task force from the state that will be looking at the local contribution side to our school funding. Now, just as a super quick recap, because we spent a lot of time talking about this at this council, but school funding, right, is both state and local share. State share is determined by a formula. Local share is a much simpler formula, and there are required minimums for what we spend. And those required minimums go up every year, and they go up and they eat up almost all of the new revenue that we have. New revenue from the allowable 2.5% growth on property taxes, new revenue from new growth on property taxes. And so that's the concern, is that that continues to grow while all of the other expenses squeeze us. And that because we have required minimum spends on our schools, that if we have to reduce our expenses, that will come disproportionately from our other departments and other parts of the budget. And we know what those are. So we're trying to figure that out. I want to say I think we've done good work to deepen our understanding, to deepen the community's understanding about that dynamic, and to try to work on a longer-term solution that will remove that pressure. And that we got a budget from the school department that is very much trying to preserve existing jobs, preserve existing investments, holding open or eliminating open positions, so that we're keeping, we added a bunch of open positions with a big increase in state funding last year. Not all those were filled, and additional open positions that they've held open. So that's how they've approached that. But we are still, of course, continuing to make investments in our schools as we need to do. The other resolve that we passed was about long-term growth in all of the ways that we have local receipts. So that's it's primarily property taxes. We know there are some from, from like restaurant and taxes and things like that, but it's largely property taxes. And so we, in the last year, have started a master plan process, and that can help us figure out what the long-term growth strategy is for the city. But what I want to say is that I think it's become clear that the master plan process, which has as part of its goal to rethink the entire zoning map, is a 4 to 5 year process to be complete. And we are already a year into that. So think 4 years from now. And then the reality of zoning changes is that once you change, whatever you want to change, for that to actually lead to development that is generating tax revenue is easily another 2 to 3 years. So when we think about the timeline based on just on a master plan, I don't believe that will be sufficient for us to plan for the financial stability that we need in this city. And so I think that if we are in the same position this time next year, where we have not been able to find places where we really want to look at strategic opportunities for our city to grow mixed-use development, to take advantage of underutilized parcels, and there absolutely are some. We've absolutely done some of that pre-work, but if we cannot move some of these things this time next year, we're going to be staring at some much, much harder choices. And so I recognize that those aren't easy things to do. When we make decisions about zoning and development, that they come with trade-offs. They come with impacts for residents. They come with impacts for property owners. But the trade-offs are going to have to be made whether we choose them or they choose us. And so that's just the message that I want to leave our community with, is to be ready, because while we have not had a lot of internal conflict this year over this budget, it's been a pretty smooth process. I really appreciate all of the support and from the staff as we've dug into these different questions. We're talking about millions of dollars a year that we need to change to close this gap here. And we have to find, what we're willing and able to do in the short term, like in the next year, in order to create a different trajectory for this city, like some of our neighboring cities have been able to do, and other cities in Massachusetts. The last point I want to make before we go back to folks' many comments on the budget is that we have in Malden, I think, a pretty thrifty approach to our government. When we look at expenses per capita, it's pretty low compared to our peers. And people often will ask me, why don't we have XYZ? Because Everett has that, or Somerville has that. Well, Everett has a casino that is the gift that keeps on giving from a municipal finance standpoint. Somerville has Assembly Square. When you look at these large pieces of the tax base, they're generating such a different amount of revenue than we have in Malden. So when you look at the combined expenses, we have a pretty high need population, lots of folks who are with real mixed income, lower income folks, seniors, recent immigrants, folks for whom English is not their first language. we have a high-need community, and we do a really good job serving that community in public health and library access and our schools and everywhere else. But it's impressive already what we're able to do with the resources that we have. And I do really think that we're still gonna have to look at some belt tightening in the next year or so. But there's only so much we can do before we're really cutting into the services that are going to affect our residents. That's what I see in the next year, is that we're gonna be having some of those conversations. My approach is always, and all options on the table, and try to, put those choices together to preserve our values and our commitments as a community. But we're talking about hard trade-offs in the next year. So I really appreciate all of the in-depth inquiry and good questions that my colleagues have brought to this year's budget discussion. I think we're in a good spot for what we have for the next year, but we have to make good use of this year to chart a different financial trajectory for the city, or it is going to be a much more unpleasant situation a year from now or 2 years from now. So I will stop there.
All right, thank you, Councilor McDonald. Do any councilors want to speak on the budget before we take a motion to pass the budget? Councilor O'Malley?
I would just put the motion on the floor to adopt the budget.
All right, seconded by Councilor Colon Hayes. Any further discussion? All right, so clerk will take the roll.
Councilor O'Malley, you wanted to adopt the budget as amended. Is that correct?
Right.
Thank you, sir.
Sure
Right,
is.
sure.
That's right.
Thanks.
Councilor Cologne Hayes? Yes. Councilor Condon? Yes. Councilor Crowe? Yes. Councilor Linehan?
Yes.
Councilor McDonald?
Yes.
Councilor O'Malley?
Yes.
Councilor Seega?
Yes.
Councilor Simonelli? Yes. Councilor Taylor? Yes. Council President Winslow?
Yes, the fiscal 25 budget is hereby adopted. Next order of business.
I'm sorry, just a real quick point of order for folks watching. So that amendment we did last week, which was just to keep us current with the retirement obligations, we got an updated figure from the state. So we had to correct that in the budget, but that was the amendment.
All right, thank you for that.
Thank you, Council
clarification.
President.
All right, thanks, great. All right, clerk will
Paper
read the next paper, thank you.
290-24, Committee Report. The Standing Committee on License, to whom was referred papers 268, Series of 2024, having considered the same, make the following report.
All right, on Councilor Seeka's motion to receive the committee report, second by Councilor Colon Hayes. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The committee report is received. Clerk will read the paper.
Paper 268-24, Petition, Self-Service Gas Station Speedway Number 2504 of 214 Broadway, Malden, renewal.
Councilor Seeker for the committee.
Thank you. Tonight, the License Committee met to discuss this petition. Compliance had no issues. This is a renewal for Speedway on the corner of Eastern Ave and Broadway. It was passed out of committee unanimously, so motion to grant this petition.
All right, second by Councilor Taylor. All those in favor of the petition, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The petition is hereby granted. Next order of business.
Paper 291-24, Committee Report. The Standing Committee on Personnel and Appointments, to whom have referred papers 170, 251, 266, and 267, having considered the same, make the following report. Committee recommends these papers out favorably to the full council.
All right, on Councilor Colon Hayes' motion to receive the committee report, seconded by Councilor Crowe. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That committee report is accepted. Clerk will read the papers. I guess what we're planning to do is read the papers by the board that they're being referred to. So we're going to read them. There are 4 papers, but we're just going to do a few at a time. So yeah.
So the first paper is 170-24, mayoral appointment, Maria Desposito, 81 Floral Avenue, Malden, as an associate member of the Board of Appeals, said term to expire March 1, 2026, to commence upon confirmation by the City Council.
Okay, great. And we have, I see Maria's in the audience, so she had a wonderful interview, and the committee voted unanimously to make the recommendation. Did anybody else want to say anything? Councilor Colon Hayes, did you want to say something, or just?
No, I thought that comes to me, but go ahead.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. So,
Oh, because it was a mayoral appointment, so it
Yeah,
doesn't need a
okay.
second. But I would
Okay.
like to say, it was great seeing you in a different way. We've known each other socially for a little bit, but
Yeah,
it's
we
always
do
really
know so.
nice to hear a different side of you, so welcome.
All right, great. So on Counselor Cullen Hayes' motion to confirm this appointment, seconded by Counselor Simonelli. Do we need to take a roll call on this, right? So roll call, clerk will take the roll.
Counselor Cologne Hayes?
Yes.
Counselor Condon? Yes. Counselor Crowe? Yes. Counselor Linehan?
Yes.
Counselor McDonald? Yes. Counselor O'Malley? Yes. Counselor Seega? Yes. Counselor Simonelli? Counselor Taylor? Yes. Council President Winslow?
Yes, that appointment is confirmed. Thank you very much, and thank you for serving the city. Great. All right, clerk will read the next appointment.
Paper 251-24, mayoral appointment, Hilda Torres, 24 Fleming Road, Malden, as a member of the Malden Redevelopment Authority Board, said term to expire May 1, 2029, and to commence upon the confirmation by the city council.
All right, so Counselor Cullen Hayes, if you have any.
Sure,
on
yes.
behalf of the committee.
So we did meet, and again, this is also a mayoral appointment, so I don't think it really needs a,
No, yeah,
approval,
we-
or it does.
we did.
But anyway, so Hilda Torres is wonderful. She's a great part of our community, and we all were just thrilled to, it passed unanimously out of the committee, so.
All right, anybody have further comments? So on Counselor Cullen Hayes' motion to approve the appointment of Hilda Torres to Malden Redevelopment Board, seconded by Counselor Taylor. Clerk will call the roll.
Counselor Cologne Hayes?
Yes.
Counselor Condon? Counselor Crowe? Yes. Counselor Linehan?
Yes.
Counselor McDonald? Yes. Counselor O'Malley? Yes. Counselor Seega? Yes. Counselor Simonelli? Counselor Taylor? Yes. Council President Winslow?
Yes, that appointment is thereby confirmed. So clerk will then, we have two appointments related to the Police Community Advisory Council. So clerk will read those.
Paper 266-24, council appointment, Brittany Torelli, 11 Reserve Street, Malden, as a member of the Police Community Advisory Council. Said term to commence upon her confirmation by the city council and to expire May 30th, 2025. And also, paper 267-24, council appointment, Chloe Chung, 45 Loomis Street, Unit 119, Malden, as a member of the Police Community Advisory Council. Said term to commence upon her confirmation by the city council and to expire May 30th, 2025.
So I think I'll recognize Counselor Cullen Hayes on behalf of the committee, but also Counselor McDonald, because he was assigned by the council to work on these appointments as well. So why don't we start with Counselor Cullen Hayes, and then we'll have Counselor McDonald. Thank you.
Sure, absolutely. We did meet with both Brittany and Chloe in our committee, and we didn't go into much detail because Counselor McDonald had already done a lot of work with them, but it was so nice to meet with them, and it was actually it was great because years ago, when a bunch of us here actually were on the committee for the Obama's Pledge and the Police Accountability Council was part of some of the requirements or some things that we had requested come from the city. So it was really good to see that and see my fellow counselor take that over the finish line. It was, and it was thrilling to meet those people. So I'll let you go into the more detail. Thank you. It came out of the committee unanimously.
All right, Counselor McDonald, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Councilor Cullen Hayes. So just a couple words about the process here. This is a brand-new committee. We did a joint hiring team with the mayor's office, and so from that, the team recommended some candidates for the city council to consider. That was important because the ordinance requires the commission to be broadly representative of the demographics of Malden, and so we had to make sure that we had folks who were covering that spread. So you have the other appointments today from the mayor that we put on file. I'm really excited, I just have to say it. We had a lot of applications for this. We had great conversations with folks. I think folks are coming in really excited. And so just to the community, stay tuned in the next few months as we have our first meetings and start to get oriented to this. Just a reminder, this passed unanimously from the city council. The police department has been very supportive. Folks across different parts of our community have been very supportive. So I think it's going to be a really critical venue for dialogue and questions and transparency and relationship building. So stay tuned for that. Just one other word on the timing of this. You'll notice this is a one-year appointment. The ordinance was written to stagger the appointments so they don't all turn over at the same time. And so the way that we wrote that was that the mayor's appointments, I think, were longer than the initial city council appointments. So that's why it will be a longer appointment in the future, but it's a one-year appointment to start, so we can get on that staggered timeline. So it'll be up for a, 3-year reappointment next year, presumably. And then also, finally, I want to note that we have, this will complete the council. The council is 7 members, so 3 appointed by the mayor, 2 appointed by the city council, and 2 youth members appointed by the superintendent. And so those folks have been appointed as well. And so I think it's going to be a great crew, and ask for your support. Thank you.
All right, and congratulations. This has been a lot of work for you both before you were on council, during on council, and to see this advisory committee meeting come together is a credit to your determination and focus, so thank you. So on Councilor McDonald's motion to approve these appointments, seconded by Councilor Colin Hayes, clerk will call the roll.
Counselor Clone Hayes.
Yes.
Counselor Condon. Counselor Crowe. Yes. Counselor Linehan. Yes. Counselor McDonald. Yes. Counselor O'Malley. Yes. Counselor Seega. Yes. Counselor Simonelli. Counselor Taylor. Yes. Council President Winslow.
Yes. Those confirmation of Brittany Torelli and Chloe Chung to the Police Community Advisory Council are hereby confirmed. Great. All right, next appointment.
Paper 292-24, Committee Report. The Standing Committee on Personnel and Appointments recommends that Sam Waters, 200 Hawthorne Street, Malden, Mass., Ward 3 resident, be appointed as a member of the Community Preservation Committee and reported out favorably to the full council.
All right, on Councilor Colin Hayes' motion to receive the committee report, seconded by Councilor Crowe. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The committee report is hereby received. Clerk will read the paper.
Paper 293-24, Council Appointment, Sam Waters, 200 Hawthorne Street, Malden, as a member of the Community Preservation Committee, said term to commence upon his confirmation by the City Council and to expire March 15th, 2026.
All right, so Councilor Colin Hayes for the committee.
Thank you.
Well, let's see, oh, sorry, let me get you up there. All right, there.
Okay, thank you. So this was a great meeting to be in, and I want to thank my committee members. We had a lot of great folks. We had to stay a long time because we tried to get them out as soon as possible so we can get this done by summer. And it was a really hard choice. There was a lot of applicants, and this is for the CPC, so that was fantastic. And it really was a hard choice. So I want to thank everybody for going through that. But in the end, I think it was great that we chose someone he's relatively new. He knew his stuff for sure. We loved his thought process on things and how he answered the questions. He really was taking his time and thoughtful, and you could see that that's how he's going to be on the committee. He's also a new family member, so I just loved to give that to somebody who is just getting involved in the committee, so I can't wait. I mean, in the community, I can't wait to see what he does with this. So it was voted out unanimously by the committee. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And I know we heard from Mr. Koff. Would Councilor Linehan, would you like to make a motion to amend the paper to extend the term? Is that?
Yeah, can you remind me what the ask was?
So to extend the term to, is it June 18th,
Changing the
2026?
expiration date to June 18th, 2026.
All right.
Happy to make that motion.
All right, so motion by Councilor Linehan to change the expiration date, second by Councilor Crowe. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, any opposed? So the expiration date of the term is thereby amended. And then on Councilor Colin Hayes' motion to approve this appointment, second by Councilor Simonelli. The clerk will call the roll. All right, okay, great.
Counselor Clone Hayes?
Yes.
Counselor Condon? Yes. Counselor Crowe? Yes. Counselor Linehan? Yes. Counselor McDonald? Yes. Counselor O'Malley? Yes. Counselor Seega? Yes. Counselor Simonelli? Counselor Taylor? Yes. Council President Winslow?
Yes. Sam Waters is hereby confirmed to the Community Preservation Committee. That looks like all our papers are handled. I don't think we're going to take up the table papers, so would anybody like to have personal privilege before we adjourn tonight? All right, so we have, all right, are we good? I have Councilor Simonelli.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to remind everybody that this Saturday at Lincoln Commons at 11 o'clock, we're going to be starting the Community Appreciation Day Health and Wellness Expo. I just want to thank all my colleagues up here. This is a citywide project that my son and I teamed up with the city of Malden, with the mayor's office and the city council. And I just want to thank everybody for helping out and with this. This has been quite an undertaking. I don't know if I should have gave the reins to my son or not, but it's going to be one big event. We have singers coming from all over the place. Everett let us borrow their stage, so we're gonna have a stage there. We've got food trucks, we've got water rides for the kids. Over 65 vendors will be there from A to Z, I guess I should say. So it's going to be a big event, and I urge everybody to come on down and say hello. I know everybody's working on their 4th of Julys, but just come on down, take a walk through, say hello, enjoy the music, and enjoy everybody's company. But I want to thank everybody for all their help and support. You might be seeing these things all around town, so come on down and enjoy yourself. And please, no politics while we're out there. Thank you very much for your cooperation.
Right. Councillor O'Malley.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to announce that Ward 4 will be having its Independence Day celebration on Saturday, July 6th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Come on down to Cordamley Park. That's the park next to the pool on Mountain Ave in the post office. Looking forward to seeing you there. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Councillor O'Malley. Councillor McDonald.
I wanted to remind folks that the city does have cooling centers at the senior center and the Malden Police Headquarters on Eastern Ave that are open 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. today, tomorrow. Well, it's closed for today because it's after 7. But tomorrow and Thursday with this heat wave, the city put out some good information about just how to stay cool. And so please check on folks if you know folks who are have medical issues that you may know, or just loved ones you want to make sure they're doing okay. And I do think our 911 issues have been resolved. Is that right?
Hear from the chief. Yeah, the chief confirmed that. Yeah.
I don't know if that spiked anyone else's cortisol getting that one in the middle of your day, but at any rate, so thank you for the folks working on that. I wanted to let folks know, and I'll give you another reminder next week. On June 27th, so that's next Thursday, we have our next Racial Equity Commission meeting, and that's I think there's it's going to be a follow-up to the one that happened in March, and we're going to be talking about the kind of what we got from that community feedback and digging into it and some key areas. So hope you'll be able to join us on the evening of Thursday, January 27th. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Councillor McDonald. Councillor Colon Hayes.
Thank you. I feel like I've been speaking about Juneteenth forever, but it's finally here, and it's very, very hot. So based on all of the recommendations, and obviously we're having like cooling centers open, that we're not going to do it outside. So because of the heat advisory, we moved it indoors. I want to thank everybody who was involved in doing that very fast. We moved it to Ferryway School. So it's going to be at 150 Cross Street. On Ferryway. It's going to be tomorrow at 11 to 3. It is going to be fantastic. It is so wonderful that Juneteenth is now a federal holiday and a holiday here in Malden. So please take this time to come down and celebrate Juneteenth, which is what the holiday is all about. We're going to have a flag raising right at 11. There'll be artists performing spoken word, step, dance, poetry, drumming, vendors, so bring your money. There's going to be some great vendors there selling their goods, community organizations, and teen workshops, along with things for children, a story walk, and a community mural, a henna, and a bounce house. So free lunch, I shouldn't forget that, by Maxine's on St. James, the Island, and Neighborhood Kitchen. So it doesn't get better than that. Games, music, and free food. So
And
please
air
come on
conditioning.
down. And air conditioning. Truth. Come down and cool off at the, you can use this, definitely cool off indoors. And I know I spoke with Eric Rubin. He's got it blasting. So we should be nice and cool. Please join us. We worked really hard on this. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Councillor Colon Hayes. Let's see, Councillor Taylor.
Just really quickly, I want to wish everybody a happy
You're,
summer.
You're next.
And let you know that Ward 5 and Ward 6 are teaming together for our 4th of July this year. It'll be held at the park behind the Forestdale School, so Forestdale Park. And it'll be from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on the 4th of July. So I hope to see everyone there. There will be food, there will be a DJ, there will be ponies, all the good stuff that you're used to. Yes,
All right.
and there will be a Ward 5 versus Ward 6 tug of war, so
Yeah.
come join in. Ward 5, I need you all.
Ward 7 might have to come in.
All right. Counselor Condon. No, we'll have a meeting there.
Thank you, Council President. 2 weeks from Thursday, we'll be partnering with Ward 2 and Ward 1, as usual for many years, the 4th of July. But July 3rd, we'll be at Green Street Park, where Peg Crow will be leading the charge to come up with a fine movie, as she always does, and serving some popcorn and drinks and a whole bunch of good things. And then the next morning, we'll be starting about 9:30 a.m. We'll have water rides and pony rides and water slides for the kids, and a basketball tournament we'll be having, partnering with Joe Levine, as usual. So one thing's a constant when you're running a 4th of July. We can always use help. Please, we'll find some work for you to do to help us out, even if it's running, a small little games for the children. But if you can make it down to help us out, we would appreciate it. And that is back at Dever Park this year, as we finish one side of the park. So we're ready to go down there. We'll be cooking, and I think all the teams quit the baseball. No baseball games, softball games. They're all too old now. That's what they told me, so. But July 4th, look forward to see you. July 3rd, look forward to see you. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor Condon. Counselor O'Malley?
I just wanted to mention, I forgot, that on June 29th, there will be a Malden Pride event at Quartermilly Park also, and that's going to be from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. Come on down. They're going to have speakers, musical events, a drag performance, local organizations, artists and vendors, food truck, free food, all ages and identities. Please join
Is there
us.
spot fun stuff? Something on spot parking?
There's also going to be a community event related to the Spot Pond Brook, and that is happening June 26th at 4 p.m. here at City Hall, I think, is that correct? The Spot Pond Brook Greenway meeting, I believe, is June 26th at 4 p.m. That's what my calendar is telling me.
I think it's actually the 27th. Thursday? That's what I wrote.
I don't know.
Okay, all right, well, look,
a mystery.
Counselor O'Malley will get the word out.
We will definitely update you next Tuesday.
Okay, all right, great. All right, Counselor Linehan.
Thank you, Council President. Ward 3 will also be gathering on the 4th of July at Amherst Park, starting at 10 a.m. Would love to see community members there. We'll be celebrating until about 1 p.m. Open, free, and welcome to all. But I'm remiss in not doing a moment of silence for a Ward 3 resident at the beginning. I apologize. I wondered if we could do one now
Sure, yep.
in memory of Vicky Stitt.
All right, oh.
Yeah, Vicky Stitt, who lived in 557 Pleasant, and is a longtime member of the community and Girl Scout volunteer. Our council actually honored her for, I think, 65 years of service to Malden Girl Scouts just a couple years ago. So she passed away this week, and I wanted to have a moment of silence in her memory.
Thank you, Counselor Linehan.
Thank you.
Right. I mean, and if there's any information about her services, please share that. Thank you. All right, and
Her services were private.
our services were private. Thank you for letting us know. All right, so I'm going to go to Counselor Crowe because you have not had a chance yet, so.
Thank you, Mr. President, and I'm not going to repeat that we'll be doing the movie night at the 3rd of July at Green Street Park and the 4th of July at Devon, so please come down. There's lots of exciting, I got to figure out what movie, so I'll know by next week. Never mind, it's a little more complicated than you think. But I did want to, about the Spot Pond Brook Greenway, I did have reached out to Councilor O'Malley, and because I got calls about like sort of pop-up meetings, and they were not on the website, so I know, and then, so I just really want to make sure that if we have any of those meetings, because it does affect Ward 1, that those are noticed, that I'm noticed, or that they're on the city website, because they ended up being at Quartermalee and then at the corner. And so people were like, I didn't know about a meeting, it does affect me. So I want to make sure that those meetings are well publicized.
All right, thank you, Counselor Crowe. Counselor Simonelli.
Yeah, Mr. President, I just got a point of information. Are we on TV next week?
Yes.
So I
yeah,
could save my 4th of July thing to next week.
Yeah, you can say it as well. Yeah, no, we're you know, as the tradition
everybody was
is
saying
now,
it. All right.
we always have 2 full council meetings at the end, just related to the budget.
Okay.
Since we passed the budget, but we do have some matters to
All
take
right,
up
I'll wait till
next
next week.
so.
Sure, thank
All
you.
right, Counselor McDonald.
Just real quick, the Spot Pond Brook Greenway public meetings that are on the city calendar. One is this Thursday, June 20th, 3 to 5 p.m. at 350 Main Street downtown at Commerce Place. That's for businesses.
Okay.
And the other one is, the one you're talking about is, oh, sorry, I hit the wrong thing. It's the 27th, 5 to 7 p.m. Oh, no, see, I hit the wrong thing on my phone, and now it's all over. I believe it's at City Hall, yeah. Yes, at City Hall, 5 to 7 p.m. on the 27th. So you can do that and then go to the Racial Equity Commission meeting.
Okay. Good.
All right.
Right. Double bonus. All right, and then let's see if we got
Sorry, I
Counselor Crowe
forgot one.
again. Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sorry. I did want to say that we will, at Bell Rock Cemetery on the corner of Bell Rock Street and Medford Street, on June 28th at 5 o'clock, we'll be dedicating the Black Revolutionary War Soldier Memorial. And that has been in the works for quite a long time. And it is, because it's the oldest cemetery, and it really has our 4 founding fathers in there. And then there are a number of Black Revolutionary War soldiers. Excuse me? June 28th at 5 p.m.
All right.
And they will be doing do you know what the date for as we do it? They're gonna be doing the instructions that we have done in the past before the 4th of July.
Okay. Oh,
But
at
that's
the-
gonna happen at June 28th at Bell Rock Cemetery,
Okay.
5 p.m.
All right, excellent, so good. All right. Okay, all right, then I will just have a couple things for myself here. So I want to thank Councilor Taylor and Councilor Linehan for coming over to it was both Ward 5 and 6 to do the Pride Crosswalk last night. We had a good participation, and the other thing, we did put up some more murals in Maplewood Square, so come to Maplewood Square and see the new murals by Fortune Corner. That was just nice to see things happening. We're getting some flowers and other type of things, just trying to brighten up the square. And then also just, again, remind folks that this year, because Trafton Park will still be under construction for 4th of July, we are, Ward 6 and Ward 5 are holding our 4th of July celebration together. So Councilor Taylor and I are working together with the group of volunteers. And we can always use more, and a bit more the merrier, so really looking forward to that. And so reach out to either myself or Councilor Taylor if you're interested in volunteering. And we're looking forward to that. And go Ward 6 on tug of war. All right, and congratulations to the Celtics on their win. Yeah, I think that the party is on Friday, right? So a little cooler then. So all right, everybody stay cool. Thanks for mentioning the cooling centers. Come down to Junith. So I'm going to actually, Councilor Condon's motion to adjourn, seconded by Councilor O'Malley. Oh, did you have one more, Councilor? All right, so Councilor Condon's motion to adjourn, seconded by Councilor O'Malley. All those in favor say aye. Council is adjourned. All right, thanks, great.